Hi, and welcome to the last episode of We Are Here Too, a podcast about mental health and life abroad. For those who are new to the podcast, my name is Francesca. I'm an Italian counsellor living in Scotland, and I am the host of this podcast. Before getting started, I would like to thank all my supporters and listeners. Thank you very much for being here on this journey with me and for reaching out and talking to me about your experience of life abroad. It's really inspiring and really heartwarming. And I started this podcast with the idea of connecting to others who went through my same experiences or similar experiences, and they understand what it means to live abroad and to go through the ups and downs of that life, or what it means to be foreigner, what it means to feel foreign within your own body, and what that entails. And so thank you very much for doing all of this. And if you're listening and you love the show, please share it with your loved ones, people you know are going to enjoy the show as well. And did you know that you can rate the podcast on Spotify? So please do so. I would much appreciate it. So the theme for this last episode of the season is going to be around agency. What agency, you may wonder? Well, first of all, what is agency, and what is agency in the realm of social sciences? Agency is the capacity of individuals to have the power and resources to fulfill their potential. So, in a way, we are looking at different factors of influence that determine or limit our capacity to fulfill that potential. And this could be our social class, our ethnicity, our ability with our bodies, like our gender, our age. And when we move abroad and we decide to make the step, in a way, we are taking ownership of those resources. We try to change something about the status quo, right? Like, we're just like, I'm not happy with whatever it's happening right here, right now, and I'm going to change it. This can be incredibly powerful and fulfilling, right? Like, we are the owner of our own destiny, and we are putting things in place to achieve that. Like, moving house can, for some, it can feel like almost like a shortcut, or and I'm sure like some of you have heard of it, like, oh, that's like, that's the easy way out. You're not here fighting for all our rights. You just decide to move away. But actually, what people do not realize is that it takes an incredible amount of courage to leave everything that you know and go for the unknown. Because let me tell you, like, when I left the first time, I was so excited to finally move forward that, like, all the fears that were, of life abroad and not knowing what I was going to expect, like, they were not necessarily there. But once you get there and you have to get used to things and used to a language that you most likely don't know well enough to, to understand everything and all the cultural subtleties and cultural references that people are, sharing with you, like, or not finding like your favorite food in the supermarkets, or not having like those one-on-one gathering with friends, like, when you remove all of that, like, it's not the thing that people think about when they move abroad. They think about, like, in ways that I'm clearly, reframing in a way today, but it's about like, I'm gonna change my status quo, I'm gonna bring something better for myself, whatever that is. They're not thinking about like, oh yeah, like, I'm going to, I want to change that, but I'm going to struggle with my mental health, and I'm going to struggle with finding a support system, or I'm going to struggle with not understanding what people are talking about. Like, right, like, we all know, I know, right? Like, so, there is something about like moving abroad that is already like a big step. And I wonder if, like, as a collective, we actually realize that, and we manage to screen out some of the voices of people maybe left in our home countries who chose differently. They maybe chose to uh, adapt and stay within their status quo. Maybe that was like comfortable enough. Or maybe they didn't have the energies enough to fight it. Regardless, they chose that way. And we chose another, which doesn't necessarily mean that it was easier or more difficult. It simply means that, we took that step of going towards the unknown and make a life for ourselves. And that sense of agency, okay, so that sense of, like, again, our capacity to have the power and resources to fulfill our potential is actually explained in our decision to move abroad. I suppose this part is very connected to our sense of power within. And the concept of power within is something that is not necessarily mainstream, but I think it's a good starting point to wonder who we are and what resources we have within us that we can tap into whenever we are struggling and whenever we need to bring change into our life. And guys, I want you to really see this. You already have it within you, and the fact that you moved abroad, it's already there, right? Like, you already have the resources that you need to overcome hustles, okay? Like, you moved abroad, you literally took your entire life and transferred it into another country with another language, without any support system, try to understand, taxes, health care, welfare, to understand, I don't know, like customs, like, you have it, okay? Like, you already went through that, right? So it's within you. The thing is about, like, sometimes when we spend too much time abroad and we live this life of, like, I am foreign, I am a migrant, sometimes there is something that doesn't translate as power, right? Like, sometimes there is like almost a gap, like, oof, I don't have it. And that's because, countries are created in a way, and they're structured in ways that they try to contain rather than expand, or at least countries as we understand them nowadays. And so, like, whenever we go into another country, like, we feel that restriction rather than an expansion, which is exactly what we needed when we first moved abroad. And so our sense of agency that is so well expressed when we decide and then we enact the moving abroad, then it almost got like reined in by the new country in some ways. And although we see a lot of fulfillment in the way we operate our new life, in some other ways we may not feel that is coming. And so at times it can feel like we live in this sort of tension where it's just like, I feel like, I should be able to do all of these things, but it's not happening. I chose this life abroad thinking that I could achieve ABC, but I'm not there yet. I feel like I put so much effort into this and the outcome is not the one as I wanted it to be. And regardless of your decision following this series of considerations, so whether you decide to stay, to move elsewhere, or to go back to your home country, the fact is, like, we lost touch in a way or another with that, like, with those with that set of inner resources that would allow you to express your agency at its full potential. And so we live a life, and I don't know if you heard that expression already, but we live a life from the outside in rather than from the inside out. So we live a life that it's very reactive to what's happening around us rather than living a life that is that starts from our very core, right? Like from, and then I'm saying this and I'm touching my stomach because it's in there, it's in our stomach, in our belly, that throughout our digestive system that our force comes, and we need to be able to tap into that, right? And whenever we come against, power over us, that's where, our strength and truth are. And that's what we need to connect to if we want to shift the power imbalance and overcome adversities. The $1,000,000 question here now is like, how do I tap into that power? Right? Like, how can I live a life from the inside out where I can express my agency to the fullest and I can overcome difficulties and live the best life that I can? There are different ways you could do that. One is talking therapy. Of course, as a counselor, I feel like I need to suggest that to my listeners. But I also went through my own therapy, and things really changed for the best for me. Like, it really made me realize how important of a person I am for myself, but also for others, and how much in my little teeny tiny corner of the world I can make a change. And that for me was incredibly powerful. But there are also other ways. One of them is try to get in contact with your needs, like what it is that you really need, how it is that you can fulfill it. And sometimes that requires you to spend time with friends and family and find it in the familiar. Other times it means go on a solo hike for a couple of weeks in the middle of nowhere where there are no passersby and get in contact with nature and feel inspired by it. For sure, what we all need is kindness and compassion towards ourselves. Like, moving abroad is tiring. Living a life abroad is tiring, and we had a bloody pandemic that put all of us, first of all, on hold. Then it strained us, it strained our relationships, it strained our life. It made us like question whether the way we were living before was okay. It created, in a way, a sort of disconnection that we're only now starting slowly but surely like repairing. So, like, just be kind to yourself, that whatever it is that you're doing right now, to keep it together and to be okay with where you are and to be okay with the choice that you made is enough. So I suppose that's my message for you, and my message for the end of season 1. Thank you very much for listening and staying tuned. Please follow me on social media. I'm on Instagram and Facebook. Although I use very much Instagram, to be fair. But you can also follow like the podcast on different platforms such as Spotify, Apple Music. I think the other one is Google Music and all the others. If you would like to be featured for future episodes, just please email me at info@francescaloversocounselling.com. I will leave the details below in the description of this episode. And just so you know, surprise, we are going to have a summer edition of this podcast. I would need to take a couple of weeks break just to gather my thoughts on how I would like to proceed and how I would like this summer edition take form. And thank you very much again for all of your support. I really, really appreciate it, and I feel really encouraged to continue. Thank you, and see you for the summer edition. Bye.